Hello. Um, this is the second attempt at putting together a channel, Opinions Plus. Um, I'm putting out I put out an introduction to this channel, which unedited. Both of these are unedited. I don't have the technical skills yet, sad to say, to do any particular editing or make this audio crisper and the visual crisper. Um, but I'm going to try. Um, but I do think that if I procrastinate any longer, given the grayness of my hair and my obvious age, um, I may not get this done. So, for good or ill, here it goes. This is number two. And again, it's extemporaneous. It's off the top of my head. I have to get some of the things I have to get squared away is the way to look at this camera, and because I'm doing it on the computer at home, and how to get the visuals properly set up. I think I've got some of the lighting pretty well done, but I can see how my eyes kind of drift away. I want to look at you. I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to me as well. These are feelings that I have. These are foundational issues. These are things that are important, I believe, to our society, to our future. But as I look at my grandchildren, um, their future, you know, but, and I really don't get the idea, well, I'm just doing it for the kids. The hell with that. You're doing it for you. You're doing it for you. You're doing it for all of us. If you're going to be a decent human being, you should be a decent human being for everybody, not just for your children, not just for your grandchildren, not just for yourself, but for everybody, because you're part of a society. And Opinions Plus is going to be talking about foundational issues primarily, or at least that's my hope. But being a extemporaneous channel, who knows where that's going to go. But I do want to focus on a few other things, and I mentioned in the introduction, if anybody's seen it or anybody sees this, um, there are two specific authors um, that I find have just very interesting premises. Distinct people, and one is Stephen Hawkins, who many of you may know is, astrophysicist of great renown, and C.S. Lewis, who, you know, um, lived an interesting life. Um, he has certainly a very opinionated and intelligent man. Anyway, they have some very interesting concepts and comments, which I may address, and I may read off some of these things uh, from their writings, just so that you're aware to make the context a little clearer. But on today's foundational issue, I really would like to address the idea that we are all in this life together. Truth is truth. Now, I know there's all types of truth. The insurance companies do it all the time. The big pharma, as people have a tendency to use uh, these words to incite um, people's emotions. Nothing wrong with that. People's emotions need to be excited. But you just don't use a buzzword or whatever to excite people, you know, especially older people who, are gullible. And they are. People are gullible. The con men kind of thing, What does con men mean? Confidence man. It means a person who gains your confidence so they can take your money, take your home, take your future. I'm asking people to be realistic, to look at facts. And yes, there's room for plenty of misinterpretation of heaven knows what. This internet has been a boon to many cases, but it is also, well, I have to say, it leads people astray. There's too much information. People don't. Most people. I can't say everybody, of course. Um, I watch a fair amount of YouTube stuff. I see a lot of these fails, things which, people do some pretty dumb things. And, it's not their normal life. If they did live like that all the time, they would be dead. They're crippled or something because they can't sustain that kind of stupidity and live a decent life. There's an intellectual baseline that everybody has in order to sustain a productive and bountiful life as best as they can. Some people in the impoverished areas, and it's not just people who, just because they don't pull themselves up by their bootstraps and all this nonsense. Yes, there's all part of that. Everything is part of it. It's one big, huge world of complicated concepts that are distorted and manipulated and abused. Like that Alex Jones clown who, made fortune off of the lies of Sandy Hook tragedy. Now, there's some people who still believe that Sandy Hook didn't happen and all that other thing, but I'm not talking to those people. These people, the children died, they were shot, and shootings are going on today. And there's all types of supposedly solid wisdom to help alleviate this problem, by arming up or whatever. But that's not my concern. I may talk to that in future videos, but in this one, I'm just asking for people to look at the truth, to see facts, to investigate, to read, to talk with your children at the dinner table, not for 5 minutes in a halftime gig in some sports arena, but to sit down and have discussions with them if you can. You may not be able to. Sit around and have a hootenanny. If people know what that is. Just sing and talk and play the guitar if you can, or flute or percussions or whatever, and just enjoy the company. You can have that type of atmosphere if you want it. It may not happen. You may not be able to have it, but it's there. The possibilities are there. Not everybody has a family. Many people are alone. Many people are individuals sitting in their homes wondering what to do day to day. They may have lost a spouse. They may have lost a dear friend, and now they have nobody. It's just the way life goes on. I mean, you cannot change that. But that doesn't mean you have to react to that depression, though sometimes you need help to get out of that depression. Sometimes you need to stand up and talk to somebody. And it's not always a minister. It's not always someone supposedly who has some understanding. They don't necessarily have that understanding. I personally had quite a bit of counseling over the years due to a variety of things, tragedies and, the family. And, there's some crackers out there. There's some people who just don't. I mean, they are nuttier than me when I came in to see him. And you have to be careful of who you talk to. Find people who care for you, not just to manipulate you or, because of their own personal needs, but because of just empathy, honest empathy, as Christ said. Now, I'm not going to get into Christian ideology, but, as I said to two people, Hawkins and Lewis, I will mention Christ on several occasions or multiple occasions because so many people are Christians. I'm not going to mention Muhammad or Lao Tzu or those, but Christ's philosophy I'm familiar with, and I was raised a Catholic and converted to Mormonism, or Latter Day Saints. It's no longer called Mormon, but I do want you to understand that there's two basic tenets that Christ taught, that all philosophers, all preachers that I'm aware of taught in one way or another. And one is empathy, agape, love your neighbor. You don't have to embrace them, you don't have to kiss them, you don't have to mow their lawn or whatever. Just respect their right to exist. They respect you, you respect them. You don't have to like them, you don't have to love them, you don't have to kiss them. You just respect them. And the other one is leadership. Christ taught that, you have to service, to be a servant, to be a leader. I don't see that today at all. There are few people who serve as a servant to the people because they are leading the people, because they are their servant, not their master, their servant, their hope for the future, teaching them, leading them, not just doing what people want them to do, but actually leading them, standing up for what is right, educating their flock. You don't see it much. You see a bunch of loudmouth people out there yapping away, but not teaching, not speaking the truth from their heart and their soul, what is good, what is right, what is decent. They speak hate and sorrow and anger. You can hear it in their voices. You can hear the way they talk about these things. It's such vitriol. Now, you can be emotional. You can be upset. You can be this. We're human beings. But that's not what these people are doing. These people are leading in their so-called leadership role for their own ends. A leader is a servant of their people, the people who, in the hierarchy of things, are below them in status. They are the leaders. They have the nice offices. They have the nice clothes. Sometimes they have airplanes and jet around the world. But there are people that open their mouths and say that they're leaders, and they are not leading you in a way that is, in my estimation, one of, for a society to become a quality society, in joining with others to be a better. They talk about diversity. When I worked for the government, federal government for years, they talked about diversity. But they didn't include people. Diversity is including people. Listening to them. You may not go that way. You can't go every way people want because there's too many people. But leaders have to make the choice. Leaders have to lead. But lead where? Lead to what is good. to what is honest. And it may not suit everybody, obviously, because there's 9 billion people out there, man. 9 billion. You going to satisfy them all? Leader doesn't do that. A true leader doesn't do that. One of the leaders that I have a problem with, and for not because of any policy issue, but because they don't lead, was Mitt Romney. He was is an LDS person, and in the LDS Church, there's priesthood responsibilities. Now, I'm no theologian. I don't promote myself to be. I just look at my own opinion and I believe it to be an effort to try to see the goodness and act where there's sorrow and evil and dishonesty. Stand up. Speak. You have to do that. Anyway, again, this is extemporaneous. I was told not to go over 10 minutes, but, it's 16:30 now. But Opinions Plus allows me to do what I want because it's extemporaneous and I can do whatever I like. Anyway, I hope I'm going to put out more of these. Like I said, I'm not going to edit these. I don't know how the heck to do that. I'm going to get better lighting and a better audio, and because this is important. I think. No, if nobody listens to this, if I get no hits or whatever it's called, or I get no comments or whatever, I don't even know how to get this on YouTube yet, but I'm going to try. I have an intro. I did send that out, not to YouTube yet, but it's going to go out. And, but even if you get the first 10 minutes of the thing, or the first 5 minutes, who knows, whatever. But it's context. And I'm going to get more clips and little things in there to help me and educate me, because because part of this is my own education. Majority of it really is my own education. When I articulate something, when I talk to you about something, I'm talking to me. I'm rearranging my thoughts to address you. What doesn't make sense? And I'm not writing this down. I tried that. It didn't work. Didn't work at all. I mean, I could script it, but then when I read it, I have no emotion. I've talked at church. I've talked in meetings. I've done that stuff. But it's not the same. I'm not that kind of a performer. But on this, I have a little more, for whatever it suits my being. I still can't get my eye thing. I keep drifting. I could see that on the tube. But be patient with me. I hope you listen. And I know that, Opinions Plus will be something that I believe will be of value. I know, at least to my immediate family, but I hope to you, everyone out there, has something to gain, something to learn from going back to the foundations, back to the basics, man, back to just decency and honor and respect of all humankind. Men, women, doesn't matter what race you are, doesn't matter any of that stuff. As long as you're decent and loving and caring and respectful of each other. Agape. That's simple, yet so hard. Humans are not easy to deal with, as we all know. Best to all. Take care. Bye for now.